Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Simon Severino, who's the CEO of Strategy Sprints, Europe's leading remote growth advisory. Simon, welcome to the program.
So pumped to be here.
You know, I'm excited to talk about what a strategy sprint is, and I can only assume that it's picking a strategy and achieving it in short bursts of time. So let's see how close I am to that. But give us a little bit of background on yourself and what your advisory firm does to help entrepreneurs.
You know, I've done 17 years of coaching CEOs in growth, and one thing was always broken. They had to wait for 3 weeks until I fly to their city, and then we have a half a day or a full day work session together, and then they can ask their question, we can strategize, we can take decisions, we can move on. Now, I said 3 years ago, why do we need that? Why don't we just create something, you know, like Spider-Man has his chair guy, and he says, hey, my friend, should I kick the left door or should I kick the right door? Yeah. And his friend says, give me a minute. Click, 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 click. Goes on a computer and says, take the left one because on the right one there's a cactus. So this is what CEOs really need right now. They need 15 times short discussion with their advisor, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but 15 times a day instead of waiting for 3 weeks and then doing the big plans and the big strategic scenarios and the big strategic planning, because guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work anyway. Look at what strategic planning is right now. It's the next 3 weeks, right?
Yes. That's a good point.
So we need something much more dynamic, much more real time, like your life really is. And I always disliked being 8 hours in a workshop, because there is not 8 hours of value going on there. But if you do 10 minutes every day and 10 minutes of strategy, 1 hour of innovation, 2 hours of operations, make your client happy, 1 hour of sales, 1 hour of just sports, me time, then 2 hours playing with your kids, and then again, 1 hour of team meeting, I think this is much more natural. It gives you much more energy and is really much, much more effective. Then this is what we set up. This is the Strategy Sprint. It's a 90-day one-to-one coaching program for growth. So our goal is to double your revenue in 90 days. But you have access 24/7 to your sprint coach. You have a dedicated sprint coach who is there 24/7. And you can ask all your quick questions. And there are 274 templates they are ready to use. How to automate your sales, how to do your blue ocean strategy, how to make people 80% ready before they talk to you. Everything. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's there. We're doing this since 17 years, and we have put it together in spreadsheets and templates, and our clients, they grab it, they go with it, they test it in their market, and then they know if it works. And they can ask us all the time.
Well, I love how you're using the words template and, you know, follow the process and checklist, because I think that too many times people feel like, wow, if you just tell me a bunch of theory and strategy, I'm really not going to know what to do. They end up coming to some seminar and getting excited, and they go back to their office and say, now what? So let's talk a little bit about those specifics. But first, I want to ask you a question. When you're talking about these sprints and periods of time, it reminded me of I read years ago about the Pomodoro technique, where it's basically you work for 20, 25 minutes at a time, take a break. Is that similar kind of the research that you were basing your concept on, or is there other research as well?
Yeah, it's based on that. It's based on Scrum. It's based on design thinking. It's based on high-performance coaching. It's what every athlete also does. If you think about your day, if you have 3 hours to do something, it will take 3 hours. If you give yourself 25 minutes to do a first draft, you will do it in 25 minutes.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing.
And
Like
that's
on your
basically the
website
principle.
homepage, there's a image of a man sprinting. Well, anyone listening to this right now, if you took off and started sprinting, at some point, seconds or minutes later, you're going to be exhausted and you can't sprint anymore. But if you were to sprint and do like that HIIT, high intensity training, if you were to sprint for a period of time, whatever, seconds, and then walk, and then sprint, and then jog, and then sprint, now you're going to get much more effective impact because you're not going all out. And same with the car. If you floor the accelerator and go 100 miles an hour, there's only so much time before your engine gives out and won't go any further either.
Absolutely. Let me tell you my last 4 weeks. So it's summer now. It's August. I was 4 weeks in our beach house in South Italy at the beach. I worked around 1.5 hours every day when my kids were asleep during siesta time after lunch. And this is the sprint lifestyle. It's really not overworking. It's the opposite. Every day, my team and I did our 15 minutes bottleneck analysis. So what is the one thing that we need to solve right now, which will have 80% of impact if we solve it? And we have a disciplined way of having a numeric way of writing down our assumption and testing it in a few hours. So we run a series of small numeric experiments, and after 3 days we know, and after 7 days we have solved the problem, and we move on solving the next problem. So one problem can be, how can we make people 80% ready before they show up in the sales call? Another problem can be, how can we automate the process for the setter before the closer gets people on the call?
Yeah.
We pick one problem and we solve that in 7 days. So we are really relaxed. That hour is a very intense hour, but all the rest, I was swimming, I was playing with my kids, I was cooking, I was enjoying life really. And this is possible. And I'm the CEO of a global operating teams operating in 4 continents. But it is possible if you focus on the one main bottleneck in front of you. And actually, I will tell later how we do this in 15 minutes, and you will see it's not a magic sauce. It's just finding out what is currently the one thing that you need to fix and focusing on that, and not having 17 projects at once running, but just being focused and calm on the right things.
Well, let's talk about that right now. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, so we have put together a 15-minute exercise. You go through your, let's have an example. So we cut businesses in 3 things: operations, marketing, and sales, right? Because the main thing is to have a great product. That's the heart of what you do. Create a wonderful experience that is really serving somebody. So there is the operations part. Then there is the marketing part, how you create awareness about that and nurture credibility and start an engagement which will become a high engagement. And then there is the sales part, really closing, and then also upselling afterwards. These are the 3 main parts of every business. Now, for every of these parts, we have created a 15 minutes exercise. It's a set of questions. You go through them, and then you know where the bottleneck is. So it's either in marketing or in operations or in sales. And then you go in there and find out what do you need to fix next. I will even share it with your audience. So we have make it available on strategysprints.com/sales. You can do the analysis of your sales funnel right now, because this is what people in this funky 2020 year need most. They need cash and they need revenue, and they need to rebuild their market. So this is what we are giving away right now. And for the first 30 listeners of this show, I will personally then go through it with them and help them find what to fix next.
Excellent. That's really awesome. That'll bring a lot of clarity to what they should be doing moving forward.
And this is the whole thing, because if you are doing too much at once, and 99% of people are doing too much at once, you get never into that deepness that really transforms the moment of your user, of the people you seek to serve. And it's all about transformation. It's all about creating that small experience that changes the moment, that makes them tell their friends, tell their colleagues, this was amazing.
Because otherwise, you are just like everybody else out there. And we do not want happy customers. We want raving fans. So I love that you use the word transformation, because that really is what must happen, so people realize that you're worthy of being talked about and referred, and word of mouth then happens.
Absolutely. We have a saying in our team. We say we don't care about happy clients. We want successful clients.
Yeah.
So
because then they tend to introduce you to other people.
Yeah, we want them to be such raving fans that they go to 3 of their friends and say, you have to call this guy. You have to be coached by the strategy sprint coaches, because it changes everything. And now every Monday we have coach meetings. So I'm out of fulfillment since this year. So I'm not coaching anymore. But we have certified coaches, and they are doing the coaching. And every Monday we have coach meeting. And I ask every coach, what are the wins of our clients right now? And sometimes they tell me they're happy, they're not happy. I never care about happy and not happy.
Yeah.
I care about the numbers. Show me the numbers. We have 3 numbers, and we go through these numbers. It's revenue, it's profit, it's NPS, and it's confidence. Confidence is how equipped do they feel to reach their goal of next week. But the other 3 things are really numeric parts. What's their revenue of this week? New revenue that came in through our sprint. Profit rate, whatever the revenue is, how much net profit is it for them? So also, what's the cost part? Did we reduce the costs for them, with them? Do they have leaner, smarter processes? Can we automate something even more? Can we make something easier in the processes? And then the third part is the NPS. How happy are their clients with the main product, with fulfillment? And these 3 numbers I ask every Monday. So they have to collect them with their clients every Friday, because on Monday they will be asked. And this is really important.
Yes. Knowing the numbers is just massive. And I know that you talk about one of the topics you teach on, how to double sales conversions in 90 days. Now, I'm certain that you could teach a 2-day workshop on that, so I don't want to get into too much detail, but can you give us a 30,000-foot view of one of the approaches you use to help double sales conversions?
Yeah, so first week, we have to get the top team out of the weeds. You need to create the time, to make the time for them to work on their business and not just in the business. So first, free up their time. Second week, now that they have 10 to 14 hours per week available to work on the business, now we go and work on form, fit, and function of their operations, form, fit, and function of their sales system, and the month later, form, fit, and function of their marketing system. That's the logic order. And when we work on form, fit, and function, we go and understand their client. Who is it that they're serving? What do they really need? What are unmet needs? What's the blue ocean strategy we can build with them? So to be really unique in solving that unmet problem. And then what's the fastest way to deliver it? And this is where the sprint starts, because then we go in cycles of 7 days, write down our assumptions in a numeric way, and then run a series of parallel experiments that run for 3 hours to 3 days. And after that, we have the data and we know what's working. What's not working is just dismissed, and what's working, we double down on in the next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you're describing is a process, it's a system, it's a methodology, but what I love that you're describing is it's not just here's a book, read it, now go do it. It is someone coming alongside you to coach you, to keep you accountable, and to make sure that it gets done. So I just think that that is spectacular, Simon. So just for any listener interested in picking up that assessment and that audit, I will make sure that I put the link in the show notes, but it is strategysprints.com/sales, and you can get that free 45-minute bottleneck analysis. So, Simon, thank you so much for coming on today. I really loved learning from you and seeing how you approach helping your clients. And if anyone listening to this podcast is appreciating the content and liking the show, I would appreciate a review on iTunes. If you can just visit ratethispodcast.com/influential and leave your rating there. Simon, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed getting to know you.
Thank you so much. Keep rolling, everybody.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.